Hey guys, so I am Annie and I just had a bilateral mastectomy with reconstruction and lymph node mapping yesterday. So I am post-op day 1. If you're not in healthcare, post-op day 0 is when you have your surgery and the next day is post-op day 1. So today is the first day post-op and I heard a lot of horror stories about I can't breathe when I lay down, I can't even wipe myself, I can't move my arms at all, and you know, I have all this neuropathic pain like itching and just different nerve pains. I right now don't have any of that. I had a very nice anesthesiologist who actually put nerve blocks in my pectorals, so it helps a lot with the pain. It should last a couple of days, so you know, post-op day 2 or 3, I might be feeling worse. But for now, I'm doing fine. I can take a deep breath. I can, you know, I'm functional. Opening jars is difficult. You know, I do have that kind of surgical tearing pain and just kind of tightness all through here. But it was expected, and that's normal surgical pain. I've had C-sections before, and I feel like the C-sections are worse. My cancer was just stage 0. It was non-invasive, so I got really lucky, and I don't have to do all of the chemo, so I know a lot of people have it a lot worse than I do. I don't, as long as I got the bilateral mastectomy, I did not have to take tamoxifen. So that was a big thing for me. But overall, it was in the back of my mind that, you know, it could be there and we just don't know, or just the fact of it possibly coming back was just too much for me. I get new boobs. So that's something, you know, they do not look perfect. You know, they look beat up, like, I don't know, Mike Tyson went to my boobs. They're bruisey and, you know, a little wonky. But, you know, I'm the only one that's gonna see them in my SO. And actually, my surgeon did not want me to wear any kind of bra, or sometimes they have you wear like a binder or a support thing that's like a big sports bra, but he did not want me to wear that. So I just left in my maxi dress, and I always had to wear a bra because my boobs would just hang, and you know, they looked quite nice in the maxi dress, you know, beat up inside, but you know, covered up, shirt, dress, whatever. I was like, okay. So they were up there. I also was able to be filled pretty good after surgery. So, you know, I got to wake up with boobs, and I know a lot of women, it's delayed, you know, because of further treatments and stuff. So like I said, you know, they for now aren't perfect. I don't know how they're gonna turn out in the end. The expanders are hard. Like hard as a rock. And I do have some sensation in certain areas of my breast, and I've heard that in time the sensation, or you know, not all of the sensation, but some sensation will come back in different areas. And so just having some of the sensation is reassuring that I will, you know, get more. They do feel cold sometimes, and also with my pain, my surgeon put it over the muscle, and I've heard that under the muscle is much more painful, like more back pain, more pain in general, and that probably contributes to the difficulty breathing and things like that. So over the muscle must be better. I don't know if you guys have seen Jen Rosenbaum's YouTube stuff, but she's amazing, and actually I found her when I was diagnosed and have kind of watched her journey, and she had under the muscle and then she went back for the over the muscle, and I think that might have been easier, but she's a really great person to look into because she's, you know, done the tamoxifen, she's done the chemo, and she really shares a lot of good information and just a lot of the psychological stuff that you go through. And yeah, I mean, I watched her and cried with her and whatever. So because mine was so early stage and, you know, the concerns, my mom had cancer when I was a kid and had gone through a lot. It wasn't breast, but I really just didn't want my kids to go through what I did and see their mom like deteriorate in front of them. I really wanted to do everything I could to do the best I can to not get this again. And so I had a lumpectomy first, and the lumpectomy was pretty easy peasy, except I developed axillary web syndrome, which is like a contracting of the inner layer. It might be the fascia that's contracting. I wasn't really understanding what it was, but there was, they call it cording syndrome too, because there's almost like tendons underneath your armpit that you can see, they stick out. And some women have huge, you know, of these cords or whatever, but mine were not that big. But I had, for like weeks, I had fire in the back of my arm after this lumpectomy because they took 4 lymph nodes. And so the lumpectomy, it was bigger than golf ball size that she took out. And I had an amazing surgeon in Las Vegas, Dr. Ann O'Neill, who even moved the tissue around so that that boob actually ended up looking better than the other one. That was perfectly fine. But anyway, bigger than golf ball size she takes out, and that doesn't really hurt. But my arm was hurting so bad, and I've never heard of this problem after lymph node removal, and especially only having 4 lymph nodes removed. So I didn't know what was going on. But it was like a hot poker was in fire and then put against the back of my arm from shoulder to elbow. And that was just constantly the feeling I had. And if anyone touched it, and I mean even grazed it, I didn't even want clothes on it. If anyone even touched it, it was like 1,000 needles piercing to my bone. And God, that was terrible. So that was rough, but that went away with time. And I actually had done a little bit of yoga because I didn't even want to move my arm. But I did some yoga and was stretching it. And I didn't even know that was the right thing to do. But my surgeon ended up, you know, when I went to her and I was like, this really hurt, but I did some stretching and it felt better. I hope that was okay. And she was like, yes, that's what it needs. It needs stretching, but don't, you know, lift anything. So I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, that you may have talked to, or if you've experienced that, but if you're going to be having lymph nodes removed and that happens to you, mine went away, and you can have physical therapy to kind of rub it out. And I've talked to some women, you know, after the fact, who said, like very few, it doesn't seem to happen very often. Most of the women I talked to had never heard of it. And, you know, they said that never happened to me when I had mine. And some people had like 10 lymph nodes removed. But the people that did have it had some physical therapy. They were like, it hurt when they were massaging it, but it helped and it went away. So, that's something. But otherwise, so, yeah, I saw radiation oncology after my lumpectomy, and the first thing he said was, you need a mastectomy, because he had some concerns about the surrounding tissues. So I was relieved because I was already thinking I didn't do enough, and I already wanted the mastectomy. I just did not want to revisit any of this ever again. And there still is a risk that you can get breast cancer in the chest wall. They do, you know, there's nothing they can do. Cells get left behind, but it drastically reduces your risk. You know, the regular population walks around with 6 to 12% chance of getting breast cancer. And, you know, you get the bilateral mastectomy and it's a 1% chance. So that's, you know, the best you can hope for. So anyway, decided on that, and yeah, so far so good. We'll see. But I saw so many horror stories on YouTube, and like I said, Jen Rosenbaum was great to watch because she really explained so much of what she was feeling and so much of what she was going through, and she just really just broke down all the feelings, you know, the physical sensations and the psychological. So I really recommend checking her out. But I wanted to put something out there so that, I don't know, so that someone's showing something that's not so scary. Like Jen didn't make me feel scared. I felt like I had a partner, but there's some other stuff out there that's like daunting. And then so many women said, you know, oh my God, this is so bad and blah, blah, blah. Like women really tried to steer me against it and, you know, scare me away from it, but I'm happy. So anyway, I'll keep you updated, and okay.